Hello everyone, my name is Victor and I am a Windows and Unix administrator. Part of my job for the past 7 years is to deploy Windows OS and applications for a little less than 2,000 computers. I mastered Altiris and become Symantec certified professional in endpoint management. But we don't need all the functions and we switched to Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2 years ago. Gradually, I developed, in my opinion, the best way to use MDT and scripted to my GitHub repository here. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the script, so I assume you understand how MDT works. If you have any questions or suggestions after read the code, or you simply want my service, please connect with me on my LinkedIn account. So here is the whole environment. This is my network with internet access for Windows Update. This is my AD domain and a non-privileged user just for Windows deployment. I will run my script with a privileged user to install and configure two MDT servers and create Hyper-V virtual machines to make base images for different editions and versions of Windows. The image builder build base image, which include only Windows OS from DVD and up-to-date Windows Update. Base images are then deployed to production computers by image deployer. We need to build base image frequently enough to include new Windows Update, so we don't have to do this every time we deploy to a production PC. My script made this super easy by fully automate this process. You can even schedule it overnight, for example. The image deployer deploy the base images with specific drivers and applications. This is a manual process as you need to boot up your physical PCs from Pixie and choose the manufacturers and your applications. But that's the way it should be for desktop technicians. Since the installation and configuration of both MDT servers are scripted, like infrastructure as code, I don't back them up, and I will delete them for whatever reason without hesitate. Because to rebuild them, I just need the share, which include all the ISO files and packages, and my script. By the way, I have included only HP and Lenovo drivers in my script. If you are in a Dell shop, you need to modify the script to suit your own hardware. First, let's install MDT on this Windows 10 PC to make a image builder. If we want to use Windows 7, PowerShell 5.1 is required and at least one PowerShell script. As I remember, disk mount doesn't work. Okay, let's download the GitHub repository first. If you don't like Linux command, you can download it from the repository here as a zip file. Then before we do anything, let's get UAC disabled first to avoid privilege problems later on. To do that, we have a script, but we need to run it by administrator. By the way, that's the repository we just downloaded. This is the script to disable UAC. Now the computer has rebooted. Let's confirm if UAC has been disabled. Oh, Yes, indeed. Now let's install and configure MDT. This is the repository, and this is the file we use to install it. Both of the MDT server will use the same script to install it. Before we do this, let's set execution policy. And let's press F5. Don't worry about this particular red error messages. I could have made it better. This message is telling us Windows Kit is going to be installed, but these two features will not be included. If you want them, you have to control break, modify the script, or let's just continue. I should have given this virtual PC more CPUs. Now this is going to take a long time. I will pause the video. Now this is to confirm if MDT has been installed. You can see these two things there. So indeed it's installed. And come back here, just press enter to reboot. Now the computer has been restarted after MDT is installed. Let's check if MDT is installed properly. You can see it's installed, but without deployment share created. We are going to create a deployment share and build a nice folder structure to hold all the OSs and applications and task sequences. Oh, by the way, I have disabled Windows Update because it makes the restart really slow. Now let's open the script. And there are two of them, create DS1 and create DS2. DS1 is for the image builder. DS2 is for the image deployer. We are going to use it later. Now let's set the execution policy because we have been restarted. And press F5 to start. Let's go back to the console. And if you expand it, it will refresh by itself. You can tell there's a deployment share created. And under the deployment share, if you expand the operating system, you see the folder structure, application, task sequence, and so on. Now let's run another script to import Windows 7 OS from DVD and import a few applications to install Microsoft update packages and the task sequence to build the image. Yeah, this is the file build, and you probably guessed what this file is. This is the one run after create DS2 to create the image deployer. Now let's open this one. Let's press F5 to start it. You don't need to worry about error message in red. That's just a extra caution I made. Also, remember to check the variables and modify them to suit your own environment. Now it paused here, wait for response. What it means is it has installed two task sequences and created two applications. They are all Windows Update packages. And it asks us to manually modify these applications and task sequences. You read the instruction. I will just show you what we need to do. We go to the console, refresh. You'll see there are three applications has been created. Servicing stack, convenience rollout, and security mass rollout. We need to modify convenience rollout to make it depend on the April servicing stack. And then we do the same thing for the monthly security update to depend on the convenience rollout. This way, if we call this monthly security rollout, all the three Windows Update will be installed by sequence. The last thing we need to do is we need to modify the task sequence to call that Windows Update application. The location is before the first Windows Update. We need to create a install applications, choose the application, which is the security monthly rollout. And we need to create a restart, follow that. Then we need to enable the second Windows Update and create a Windows restart computer after that. Oh, by the way, I supposed to put the install application and the restart computer before the first Windows Update. Okay, let's click OK. Let's just confirm it. So install application, that's security update, restart computer, enable Windows Update, restart computer. Good. Once we've done all that, let's go back to the script. Press any key to continue. This is another manually customization which we don't need to do because it's just nice to have. In this case, we really don't need it. Now it's going to take the lengthy deployment share update, which will create the ISO file, the boot vim file, and then it will call another script to create and deploy Windows, create the VM and deploy Windows, and capture the images to be the final base image. About 10 minutes later, the script is finished. And this VM was created on your Hyper-V host and booted up already. And the base image should be captured before the VM is shut down. And we need to check our Hyper-V host there for this VM and wait for it to be shut down. And then verify that folder for this VM, for this vim file. And the whole process will take about a few hours. Let's go to our Hyper-V host now. Here, without a refresh, you see indeed that VM was created. And from this small picture, you can see it's doing its magic. Let's connect to it. And from this point, there's really nothing you need to do. It takes lengthy few hours, but at the end, this VM is going to be shut down, and we can see the capture vim file in that captures folder. I will fast forward this to the end. It's finished 4 hours later. Since the temporary VM has been shut down, let's go back to the captured folder to see if we have the captured image. And indeed we have it. Now the problem part. If you have boot up the temporary VM, like me, you will see there are still some Windows update to be installed. And if you click on it to list it, you will find actually all of them has already been updated before the base image was captured. The reason is still unclear to me, but I assume that has something to do with multiple updates inside this package has dependency on each other, so they have to be installed one more time or twice more time. So my workaround is to include multiple of this application in the task sequence. This one. So I just do it multiple times, and that actually helped. But I will leave this to you and to use your own judgment.